Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer, and we have indeed made it to another edition of BeerThirty. Cheers. I am having one of my few remaining special beers that I got around Christmas time. All the imported microbrews from Germany. This one is from the town of Grossrollingsbach, which apparently is in Bavaria, and it is called the Helle Edelbayer. And it is brewed in the Helles style, and it is quite delicious. I would put this up, maybe not quite as high as I did a couple of those other ones that were like super stupendous, but this one's damn good. Got a little bit of cloudiness to it, but it is refreshing. Only 4.6 by volume on alcohol content, so it is a low point beer basically. Anything under 5% I consider like a low point. So, welcome to BeerThirty. This is my segment where I try a little bit of I fix my beard, and I try a little bit of a microbrew. Oh, that's doing that every time I turn my head. That's what's happening there. Okay, got it. It's actually getting too long now. It's going away soon anyway. So, we talk about beer a little bit. I hope you're having something delicious, adult beverage wise or whatnot, or your tea or coffee, whatever. And then we talk about some of the gaming topics of note for the day. Also, because I didn't want to forget, I got this today, in case you didn't know this was out. If you are a fantasy reader, this is the Elric of Melibone, the Elric Saga, Volume 1 in hardback. The reason that I had to pre-order these like over a year ago. I only got the first one so far. Because it was announced right in the heyday of COVID, and it kept getting delayed. So this one came out today. The next one comes out in April, and then the final one comes out like in, I think, September or something like that. But I got all three of them pre-ordered. Got the first one today, and it is gorgeous. So got some beautiful artwork inside. It's this is a beauty. So anyway, this is the classic Elric Saga, which I did not have, and it was hard to find decent copies because it was out of print that were not ridiculously priced or whatever. These are going for, I think, right around $20 each, and that's a pretty good price for brand new hardback. I got this at a pre-order guarantee price. Even it was like 18 something because I pre-ordered it or whatever. But if you're interested, they're on Amazon. So I can't wait to check this out because I've never actually read this story. I know of Elric and Stormbringer and all that from Deities and Demigods, the Dungeons and Dragons book, but I've never actually read the stories. So now I can start on this. Now, aside from that, we had a couple of different. Let's see if we can. There we go. Just minimize that a little bit there, and I can move that over. And I got a couple different things I wanted to talk about here that you might be interested in. So there was an announcement today for Baldur's Gate 3 news that says Baldur's Gate 3 has barbarians now, but Larian expects it will not leave early access until 2023. Holy shit. I don't remember when that game was supposed to come out. Wasn't it supposed to come out in 2020? Then it ended up being considered early access like in perpetuity, and it was having all kinds of issues. I mean, I uninstalled it because I couldn't even get it to run. And now they're adding stuff to it, content and so forth, but it's still considered early access till 2023. So I don't know how I feel about that. I after putting out full price for the early access to it, with the original release date, long in the rearview mirror and everything, yeah, that's kind of disappointing. Maybe eventually they'll get it right and it'll get released fully. But anyway, there's your update. Elden Ring, some Elden Ring news. Today, they announced that there are two additional classes, the Confessor and a Samurai class, that they've announced today. The two most recent playable classes that they've announced. I know what a Samurai is, but I'm not sure what the Confessor would be. But anyway, there's that. And then if you want to check, you can go to PC Gamer, any of them. They also released the recommended specs and the minimum specs for PCs to be able to play this. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. The specs were, from what I saw, were about what I expected. They're calling them like steep, but they're about what I expected. I expected it to be pretty intense on the needs for like graphics and RAM and so forth. So, and then the other story I wanted to talk about was the Horizon Forbidden West. I did my little bit of research on this because I never played Horizon Zero Dawn, and it looks like I'm going to have time to try that out because Horizon Forbidden West isn't going to be available on PC. There's no announcement for when it's going to be, if it's going to be available, and or when. We would have to assume it's going to be, but assumptions are not always a smart thing to do. It's a PlayStation exclusive, but they are making it for PS4 and PS5, and they kind of got into a little hot water today because the store has some tricky wording on two different packages that basically give you the exact same thing. One package costs you $10 more though, and it's kind of sounds a little bit more what's the word I want? Promoted through the language to get you to spend the extra $10, even though you're getting the exact same thing. It says here that the PS5, PS4 version was being mentioned at the $59.99 price point, which was basically the PS4 version with a free PS5 upgrade. So you would get it for PS4, but it came with a free PS5 upgrade. And then separately, they're offering a PS5 version with a PS4 copy included for $70, $10 more. But it's the same shit. It's exactly the same amount of content. Two different versions, one for PS4, one PS5. Both of them for either $60, or for some reason they think you're going to pay $10 more for the same exact thing. So anyway, yeah, that happened. That story is on Game Rant. So if you want to check out that story, that's on GameRant.com. What I can do here is I can put the links to these stories in the description below if you guys want to go check them out. But I thought that was kind of interesting that they're trying to be sneaky and get an extra $10 for no reason. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about, aside from gaming news, was the Super Bowl, because I haven't really talked about my reaction to the whole Super Bowl and all that. I thought it was a great game. If you remember, I had on my live streams, I had talked about having everybody put in their predictions. I have not gone back to the chat logs to see if anybody predicted exactly what happened. I will do that before my next live is on Thursday. I will check the chat logs and see if anybody nailed it. Now I had predicted, even though I wanted the Rams to win, I thought Cincinnati would win, and I think I predicted 27-24. I was way off, obviously. Excuse me. So, but I can't wait to go back and check the chat logs and then do the next live and see if anybody got it exact. I doubt it because the Rams did go for 2 on one of the touchdowns and they failed, so it was kind of an odd score. You know, instead of 7 points, they got 6, which I guess it still could be because that'd be two field goals. So it's possible somebody could have still got it. So I'll have to go back and check, and then we'll on the next live on Thursday we'll talk about it. But I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I had a feeling that the Rams would make more mistakes than Cincinnati, which is why I thought that Cincinnati would actually win. And I still think the Rams made more mistakes. I just think that they also produced when they needed to produce, and the penalty quotient was well, there were bad penalties on both teams. Because if you remember, there was on one particular play, one of the Rams actually got faced by the receiver, was a full-on face mask, which should have been called, was not called. And so that was a missed call. And then there was some on the Rams' final drive that were maybe ticky-tacky. So there were, I think the bad calls, I think they were pretty even on getting bad calls. But the Rams just, they pulled together right when they had to and pulled it out. And I feel bad for Cincinnati because thanks. So sorry about that. So I forgot my train of thought now. Anyway, so I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the halftime show. I am not a boomer. I am Gen X. Well, I can't be left alone, can I? Yeah, I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X, but I am. I'm an older Gen X. I made the cutoff by like 2 years or something like that. But nevertheless, you know, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, all those people. Listened to all of them, of course, when I was younger. I'm not gonna say when I was growing up because I was full grown when they were, you know, up and about and in the limelight. Eminem for sure, Dr. Dre for sure. Maybe not 50 Cent so much. Mary J. Blige, of course. But and then Kendrick Lamar. That's the one I don't think I listened to very much at all, but definitely the other ones. Eminem actually, when I was in my security days at Universal Studios, he was making either his first album, might have been his second album, and Universal or MCA Music at the time, which turned into I think Universal Music Group. They owned the building where the recording studio was, which was across from MGM Studios. And when Eminem was gonna show up there to record, we had to get like off-duty cops. We had to get all kinds of special security for him because he was getting active death threats, like they use the term credible death threats. And so we had to work with LAPD and all that stuff. I think it was Death Row Records, and I think they were owned by MCA Music or Universal Music Group at the time. And so we had to provide all that security, and he would come and go, kind of under the cover of darkness, the whole bit, because there was all these threats and shit going on. So I do remember that for sure. But so yeah, enjoyed the show, enjoyed the Super Bowl itself. Didn't really pay attention too much to the commercials or any of that stuff. My wife's more into the commercial thing. But I was happy the Rams won. That's why I wore I don't have a Rams hat but I had to wear something LA, so wore my Dodger hat. And so even though I'm a Raider fan, I am from Los Angeles, so I also root for the Rams if they make it to the Super Bowl or whatever. Got to root for them. So anyway, guys, I think that's gonna do it for this edition of Beer 30. My next live is on Thursday, so until then, we will catch you on the flip side.